Oh.
Okay. Hey guys, so as many of you know, I'm working in the fashion industry out in Vancouver, and lots of you have been asking questions about what it's like to really work in the industry. So I'm here with my friend Jess, who also works in the industry, and we kind of just wanted to share our knowledge and what it's like to be in the industry. So Jess will explain her part and sort of her background in the industry.
So I think, as some of you probably may know, that Marissa went to Blanche Macdonald in Vancouver for fashion school, and that's where we met and kind of went through the program together. And through school, both got jobs outside of school, which was really, really great. So I'm currently working in the wholesale industry as a sales manager of a showroom and also a brand manager for one of the lines that we import and distribute. So that's kind of what I do. And Marissa?
Yeah, and so I work at a distributor. We actually used to work for the same company. So Jess used to rep some of our brands as well. And so what I do is I'm a brand assistant is my title. And what I do is get the samples from LA is where the head office is for some of the brands. And so we get the samples, bring them in, we make all the labels, like pricing, everything for Canadian prices, and then we send them to our reps, and we have reps in West Coast, East Coast, Quebec, and the Maritimes. And then once they are out selling, then they give us the orders, and we input them, and then when it's time to ship, we contact customers, and we ship them out. So those are two kind of sides of the industry. There's also with Blanche, you go through the program and you have a bunch of different courses. So you can also be in styling. What other things can you really do?
Merchandising.
Yeah, merchandising.
Buying.
Yeah, buying's a big one. I feel like lots of people always want to go into fashion and be a buyer, but it's actually so much math, and it's
insane. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not really even, to be honest, like the most exciting job. Like, it's very, like, you're crunching numbers, you have to figure out your budget, you get to look at the clothes, but it's mainly just spreadsheets, I feel like.
Yes.
And you have to really focus on numbers. It's a lot of math, so if you're not good at that, it's probably not your area of expertise. Other areas.
I mean, there's always marketing, social media, stuff like that. And I think the most important thing with getting into the fashion industry is kind of understanding where you want to go with it. But also, I think in our generation, people are kind of wanting to do more than just one thing. There's so many of us that don't stay at one job or one career for our whole lives. So it's nice to find a position where you can kind of do a little bit of everything. So if you own your own boutique, you get to do merchandising, you get to do sales, you get to do styling, social media, all of it. Like, that's all kind of included. Same with what I like about working in wholesaling is, obviously, I do sales and I work with that, but I run our social media account. I merchandise the showroom how I want it to be merchandised. I get to work with the brands and be in talks with the design teams and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more all-encompassing, and that's really exciting to get to be a part of all of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think wholesale is such a cool area to be in because you get to be really involved with the clothes. I feel like lots of people like glamorize certain areas of the industry, and it's just really not that glamorous. It's a lot of hard work. You like barely get any breaks. You're working your ass off, and you're just really trying to prove yourself, but sometimes it does go unnoticed. So I think a lot of people finish school and then they expect like this huge position for them to be open, and it's just not. You have to prove yourself. You have to intern, and then don't, like you were saying, so Jess previously interned at her company that she's working with right now, and she really worked hard as interning, so they notice that. So I feel like also when you are interning, don't just like treat it as, oh, I'm not getting paid, so I don't give a crap about it. Like, you have to really work hard still.
And the biggest thing with our industry is that it's all about who you know. It's networking. Yeah. You never know, you could be interning and the person who catches you on your phone being lazy could be the person who's looking for a really, really great employee at an amazing position that could make you a lot of money. And you just screwed that up because you weren't working hard enough because you don't think so anybody's watching. I think that's super important to realize that nobody owes you anything, especially when you're straight out of school and there are hundreds of other people vying for jobs
just as hard.
So it's all about, like you said, like proving yourself, working your ass off, not feeling entitled in any way, knowing that you have to start at the bottom. You have to, like, I wouldn't be where I am without having interned. And for multiple different places, and probably not loving every second of it because you're not being paid. You're still going to school and working to try and survive, and then going to an unpaid internship. It's not glamorous by any means, but it pays off.
And just like snowballing on top of that, like when I first started at the company I'm working at right now, I wasn't a brand assistant. I was actually a customer service rep, and I would contact the customers and ask them if they're ready for their orders. Like, I wasn't involved with the brands or anything like that, but I lucked out and the position opened up, and I immediately jumped on it, and I, asked and I proved myself, like, the time that I was being a customer service rep. So then I lucked out and got to be in the position I am now, and I get to work more with the brands, and it's so cool. You get sent like their inspiration for the season, and I'm the first one who gets to see the seasons like straight in Canada, straight from LA to Canada. So it's really cool for that. Lots of you also ask about if you think if you need schooling, or if you can just like kind of move from wherever you are to the bigger cities. And I feel like it really depends. If you know that what you want in the industry is, say you want to be a stylist, then you can move somewhere and, make connections with certain people who are stylists in those cities and work with them and, volunteer and do that kind of stuff. But if you have no idea and you're like, I just want to be in the industry, then I think school is probably great for you because it shows you each course and like what everything's involved in. But interning also helps because you can test things out and be like, I don't really think that's for me. Like I went and did a trade show, just like volunteered for it, and I realized that I'm probably not the best personality for it because I'm not very like outgoing. I'm kind of reserved at first, so I'm just like, I don't think that's actually for me. Like it looks so much fun, and like I think it's really cool, but it just doesn't fit with my personality, and that's okay, So I think just testing out certain things, you'll find out a lot about different things like that. So,
and that's totally how I felt with going to school. I've heard mixed reviews from people that we went to school with or that have done other programs of saying, I don't feel like I needed to go to school, like I'd done this on my own. And personally for me, I went to school thinking I wanted to be a stylist. I wanted to be Rachel Zoe. And thought that was totally my niche kind of thing. And going through school and doing the wholesaling program, I just kind of fell in love with it. And it was something that I didn't really know anything about. I didn't expect to like it all that much, and started interning and getting to be a part of it and realizing that was exactly where I wanted to be. And I'm so glad I did that and tried different internships that I then knew weren't going to be what I wanted to do long term. So it's good if you're kind of a little unsure and want to test the waters on things and want to understand what really goes into all those different kind of areas of the industry. School's the way to do it.
I agree.
And there's lots of connections you can make too.
Exactly. And honestly, like going to free events or anything like that, even locally, even if it's in your small town and say a boutique is putting something on, like for sure just go mingle with people, because you don't have to move to a big city to be in the industry. You know, you can make your own little industry in your town and be the star of the show, really. Like, you don't have to move to New York and, like, try and beat all the million people that are trying to do the exact same thing as you, because it could be 10 times harder trying to beat all the people in the bigger city.
Yeah. You're almost more likely to make it big when you're not competing with as many people trying to do the same thing.
Like, you could be the first in your town, really, like being a stylist or anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
And I think lots of people get caught up that you have to move, but you can for sure just do things in your town. And, like, I started doing things when I was 16 and back home where I'm from in Saskatchewan. I would volunteer at fashion shows. I worked behind stage. I, like, did so many things like that just because I, like, needed to be in the industry because I couldn't live in the big city yet. So I think just start doing it and figure it out if that's what you guys want to do.
Yeah, and I think a big thing is that a lot of people also kind of get it in their heads that they're just going to up and move and go to fashion school and their life's going to be perfect because it looks so cool, or they see on Instagram what people are doing and it looks awesome. And I think the biggest thing to realize is just that, like, it's the same as, you know, moving for any job or, you know, going to school to become a doctor or a lawyer. Like, it's a lot of work. It's not just something you should do on a whim. There's so many people that compete for spots at those schools and compete for internships and jobs, and it's really upsetting when, I know for us, like, both of us, we've talked a lot about just how hardworking we are and how much extra effort we put into everything that we do. And so to see people kind of come in and not take it as seriously and be like, oh, well, I thought it was just going to be a fun, glamorous thing. I'd get to go to parties and work for a magazine. And it's like,
I don't even think there's not even really, like, in Vancouver, because there's not really magazines or, like, anything like that out here. So, yeah, it's kind of shocking. It is. But, yeah, it's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
So just really, if that's something that you're thinking about, really decide if that's, you want to, like, come out here or in Toronto and really put everything into it.
Yeah.
And, going on, like, about social media, it's so hard because I always compare myself to other people on social media. I'm like, oh, why can't I be in Paris, like, doing all those cool things? But it's like, they worked really hard to get there too, but, like, and people have their hard days, right? Like, I'm sure people look at our Instagrams and are like, oh, like, they live such a fun life in Vancouver, but it's like, it's hard. Like, we both live on our own. Like, we live a very, like, minimal life. It's not like we're out here, like, spending dollars on purses, and and it's hard to keep up with trends, especially when you're, like, into fashion, and then you are living by yourself and you can't really afford to go on splurges anymore. So
the reason we got into the fashion industry is for the discount on clothes.
Yeah.
Really. Let's be real. But yeah, the biggest thing, just work hard, pay your dues, and that's all you can do in anything. Like, whether it be the fashion industry or anything like that. But it's not easy. Not as glamorous as you think. Like, I like to say my job title is professional clothing schlepper because I just move samples around all the time, and it's not glamorous, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah. I would say if that's something that you've always been passionate about, it's for sure worth it. Like, I wouldn't ever want to be doing anything else. So I'm not saying we're not trying to discourage or anything, but we're just trying to say that it's a lot of hard work, but it's really worth it in the end. And, like, I'm still learning as to what I kind of want to do too. Like, I love working with brands and stuff like that, so I kind of want to gear myself more into that. And then I also love, like, blogging and styling things, so I have a bunch of different interests, so I'm still even trying to figure it out. And so you're not alone, and just if you guys have any questions or anything like that, you can always DM us, and we're more than happy to answer and help out.